There's a painful truth most people never want to face. Toxic behavior doesn't only come from strangers. Sometimes it comes from the people who share your blood. And when it does, it cuts deeper because you're taught to tolerate it. You're told to be understanding, to let it go, to keep the peace. But peace built on self-betrayal is not peace. It's a slow erosion of your spirit. Stoic philosophy teaches this clearly. You're obligated to protect your mind, your dignity, and your inner freedom, no matter who threatens it. So today, we will walk through 9 toxic behaviors you should never tolerate. Not even from family, not because you must cut people off, but because you must stop abandoning yourself. This isn't about anger, it's about clarity. It's about learning to see harmful patterns for what they truly are, and responding with strength, boundaries, and self-respect. Let's begin. 1. Manipulation disguised as love. One of the most dangerous forms of toxicity is the kind that looks like love on the surface, but feels like control underneath. It doesn't shout, it doesn't threaten. It whispers, and that whisper sounds like, "I say this because I care. After everything I've sacrificed for you, if you really loved me, you would do this for me." This is not love. It's emotional manipulation dressed in affection. True love supports your growth. Manipulation supports someone else's power over you. The core problem. Toxic family manipulation works by creating emotional debt. They make you feel like you owe them your choices, your time, your compliance, even your life path. They twist your natural desire to honor family into a tool they can use to control you. Before long, you start questioning yourself. Am I being ungrateful? Am I a bad son or daughter for wanting a different life? Do I owe them this? That confusion is exactly the goal. The Stoic insight. Marcus Aurelius taught that nothing deserves ownership over your mind. Not praise, not criticism, not even family expectations. Stoicism makes it clear, love that requires self-abandonment is not love. Attachment that demands obedience is not virtue. Your duty is kindness, not surrender. How this shows up in real life. They use guilt to steer your decisions. They expect you to sacrifice your goals to maintain family harmony. They shame you for wanting independence. They claim moral superiority because of what they've done for you. This isn't healthy bonding, it's psychological leverage. How to respond? The Stoic protocol. Pause instead of reacting. Manipulation thrives on emotional impulsiveness. A single silent breath breaks the spell. Name the tactic in your mind. This is guilt tripping. This is obligation pressure. Naming it restores clarity. Set a boundary without defending yourself. I understand how you feel, but this is my decision. I'm not available for that expectation. You don't argue, you don't explain, you don't justify, you simply stand. Healthy love adjusts when you assert yourself. Manipulation escalates. And the moment you see the difference clearly, you break the cycle. Mantra. Love is not a leash. 2. Constant criticism that damages your sense of self. There's a specific kind of pain that doesn't bruise the skin, but slowly bruises the soul. The pain of being constantly criticized by the people who were supposed to lift you up. With strangers, criticism is easy to brush off. But when it comes from family, it cuts differently, deeper, sharper, and in places you didn't know were vulnerable. And it often begins so early, you don't realize how much of your identity has been shaped by someone else's disapproval. You hear things like, "You're too much," "You're not enough," "You always mess things up," "You should be more like your brother, sister." Over time, these comments turn into a quiet inner voice that follows you everywhere, whispering the same judgments long after the person has stopped speaking. The core problem: Chronic criticism doesn't just point out flaws. It rewrites your internal story. It conditions you to expect rejection. It teaches you to doubt your abilities before you even try. It pushes you into a life lived cautiously, apologetically, afraid of disappointing someone who will never be satisfied anyway. And the most painful part? A part of you still hopes that one day their approval will finally arrive. Like a blessing that makes everything make sense. Stoic philosophy calls this exactly what it is. A trap. The Stoic insight. Epictetus teaches that other people's opinions are their judgments, not your truth. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that the mind becomes what it repeatedly tells itself. So the danger is not the criticism itself. It's letting their voice replace your own. The Stoic path demands that you reclaim authorship over your inner narrative. How this shows up in real life. Maybe you hesitate before sharing your idea. Maybe you downplay your achievements. Maybe compliments feel uncomfortable because you're used to being told the opposite. Constant criticism doesn't just affect your confidence, it shapes your identity. How to respond. The Stoic protocol. Pause and separate the voice from the truth. Ask yourself, is this a fact or just their habit of judging everything? Recenter your identity. Write one sentence about who you actually are, not who they decided you were. Set limits on how deeply their words enter your mind. You can say calmly, "I don't take that on," or "That may be your view, but it isn't mine." No anger, no defensiveness, just clarity. And clarity is the beginning of freedom, because once you stop living through someone else's lens, you finally see yourself clearly, and you realize there was nothing wrong with you to begin with. You were simply treated by someone who didn't know how to speak with care. I decide who I am. 3. Emotional blackmail and guilt trapping. Epictetus taught a simple, brutal truth. No person has power over you unless you give it to them. Emotional blackmail violates this principle more than any other toxic behavior, because it demands that you hand over your freedom willingly. And when it comes from family, it often slips in unnoticed, wrapped in words that sound loving but feel like invisible chains. It shows up in phrases like, "If you really cared, you'd do this for me. After everything I've done, this is how you repay me. You're abandoning your family. I guess I don't matter to you anymore." These aren't conversations. They're traps. Traps designed to make you carry emotions that don't belong to you. The core pain. Emotional blackmail works by turning your goodness against you. Your empathy becomes a doorway. Your loyalty becomes leverage. Your desire to not hurt anyone becomes the reason you slowly hurt yourself. You begin to question every decision. Am I being selfish? Am I disappointing them? Am I doing something wrong by choosing what's right for me? This quiet confusion is how emotional blackmail rewrites your moral compass. It makes someone else's disappointment feel like your failure. It convinces you that protecting your boundaries is an act of betrayal. But Stoic philosophy cuts through the fog. Choosing your well-being is not cruelty. Saying no is not disrespect. Refusing guilt is not a moral failure. How this appears in real life. You stop making decisions based on what's right and start making decisions based on who will be upset. You sacrifice opportunities to avoid conflict. You accept responsibility for problems you didn't create. You apologize just to keep the peace. Slowly, peace becomes prison. How to respond. The Stoic protocol. Stay neutral, not emotional. Emotional blackmail feeds on reaction. Silence and a calm tone break its momentum. Identify the pressure, not the words. Ask yourself, are they expressing a need or are they controlling me? Return responsibility to its rightful owner. Say quietly but firmly, that emotion belongs to you, not to me. Or, I won't make this decision based on guilt. You're not arguing. You're not justifying. You're simply refusing to carry a burden that was never yours. The Stoic truth: you do not owe anyone your freedom to prove your love. Real love does not demand self-betrayal, and guilt is not guidance. It is manipulation. Guilt is not love. 4. Repeated boundary violations. Marcus Aurelius once warned, if someone continually oversteps your limits, it is because you taught them that they could. Nothing exposes the health of a relationship more clearly than how someone reacts to your boundaries. A healthy person adjusts. A toxic person pushes harder. And when that toxic person is a family member, the disrespect is often disguised as concern, tradition, or that's just how we are. The quiet pain behind this boundary violations rarely explode. They erode. One small disrespect here, one harmless intrusion there, one comment that minimizes your feelings, followed by, "You're too sensitive." "I was just joking." You can't say no to family. Over time, you no longer feel like a person with needs. You feel like a resource, a tool, a default yes. And a part of you grows tired. Not from the fights, but from the exhaustion of constantly having to defend what should have been respected in the first place. The Stoic insight. Stoicism teaches that your mind, your time, and your emotional energy are your sovereign territory. If you don't protect that territory, someone else will occupy it, intentionally or not. Boundaries are not about controlling others. They are about honoring yourself. And once you understand that, you stop apologizing for the space you need to breathe. How this shows up in real life. They show up at your home unannounced. They criticize your choices even after you ask them not to. They pressure you into plans you've already declined. They ignore your emotional limits and insist you get over it. They treat every no like a negotiation instead of a decision. Their message is simple. Your boundaries don't matter. Only my comfort does. How to respond. The Stoic protocol. State the boundary clearly and calmly. Not angry, not emotional, just firm. Repeat it once more with the same calm tone. Consistency builds strength, then enforce it with action, not explanation. If they show up uninvited, don't open the door. If they push a topic you've closed, end the conversation. If they ignore your no, reduce their access to you. This isn't cruelty. This is self-respect. The Stoic truth. A boundary that requires a fight is not a boundary. It is a warning. And sometimes the most powerful act of love, even toward family, is teaching them where you end and where they must not cross. My boundary is my dignity. 5. Victim playing to avoid responsibility. Seneca once wrote, "A man is not punished for his anger. He is punished by his anger." And nothing embodies this more clearly than a family member who lives in a constant state of victimhood. Not because the world is unjust, but because responsibility feels too heavy for them to carry. When someone refuses accountability, they don't just drop their burdens. They hand them to you. The draining reality of this behavior. People who play the victim are not looking for solutions. They are looking for shelter. Shelter from responsibility, shelter from consequences, shelter from their own choices. You become the emotional sponge, absorbing guilt, fixing their problems, patching their crises, while they repeat the same patterns again and again. They say things like, "Nothing ever works out for me. You made me feel this way. Why does everyone treat me so badly? I wouldn't struggle if people helped me more." At first, it triggers empathy. Eventually, it triggers exhaustion, because deep down, you sense the truth. They are not stuck. They are avoiding. The Stoic insight. Stoicism teaches that virtue begins with ownership. Your life is shaped not by what happens to you, but by how you choose to respond. So when someone rejects responsibility, they reject growth itself. And if you take responsibility for them, you join their stagnation. Epictetus warned against this clearly. You cannot heal a person who refuses to acknowledge the wound. How this shows up in real life. They expect you to rescue them emotionally. They blame you for their frustrations. They retell events in a way that makes them look innocent, even when they contributed to the problem. They turn every conflict into a story where they were attacked, misunderstood, or unfairly treated. And the cost? Your peace, your energy, your clarity, how to respond. The Stoic protocol. Stop rescuing. The more you fix for them, the less they will ever fix for themselves. Redirect responsibility gently but firmly. What part of this is in your control? Or what do you want to do differently this time? Protect your emotional bandwidth. When the conversation becomes circular, step out. When guilt appears, don't take the hook. You're not abandoning them. You're refusing to carry what was never yours. The Stoic truth: a person who clings to victimhood cannot grow, but you do not have to shrink yourself to match their stagnation. I won't carry what isn't mine. 6. Using family as a shield for toxicity. Marcus Aurelius taught, what is not good for the hive is not good for the bee. Meaning, a title, a role, or a relationship does not justify harm. And yet, one of the most common toxic patterns in families is using family itself as a shield to excuse damaging behavior. The manipulative structure behind this. When someone hides their toxicity behind the word family, they're not seeking harmony, they're seeking immunity. You'll hear things like, that's just how I am. You can't cut me off, I'm your father, mother. In this family, we don't say no. Family forgives everything. These phrases are not values, they're weapons. Subtle, emotional weapons used to dismiss boundaries, avoid accountability, and pressure you into compliance. The quiet hurt this creates. When you're taught that family comes first, you naturally want to honor that. But over time, you notice a painful imbalance. They want unconditional access to your life, but they offer unconditional disregard for your peace. They demand loyalty, but give none in return. They preach unity, but create all the fractures. And the most heartbreaking part? You begin to wonder if speaking up makes you the bad one. You question whether protecting yourself means betraying your family. Stoicism answers this with clarity. Loyalty without virtue is slavery, not love. The Stoic insight. Being family doesn't grant someone permission to harm your mental and emotional well-being. Bloodline is not an ethical exemption. Virtue stands above labels, positions, and traditions. A relationship is healthy only when it operates within mutual respect, not entitlement. How this shows up in real life. They expect forgiveness without change. They treat boundaries as disrespect. They use family gatherings as arenas for criticism. They rely on cultural norms to silence your voice. They insist that your needs are selfish, while their needs are unquestioned. How to respond. The Stoic protocol. State your values first. I value peace, respect, and mutual understanding. Then state your limits. I won't participate in conversations that attack or belittle me. Finally, adjust your access. Reduced time, reduced emotional investment, reduced availability. Not out of anger, but out of self-preservation. The Stoic truth. Family is not defined by shared blood, but by shared respect. Anyone who uses family to justify harm is not asking for connection. They are asking for control. Family is not an excuse. 7. Envy and subtle sabotage. Seneca once noted, envy is the most useless of all passions, for it never brings joy, only misery. And yet, envy inside a family is one of the most common and most painful forms of toxicity. It doesn't always show its face directly. Sometimes it smiles at you, while quietly hoping you fail. The invisible nature of family envy. Envy from strangers stings. Envy from family wounds the soul, because you expect strangers to misunderstand you, but you hope family will celebrate you. Instead, you notice patterns like backhanded compliments, jokes that cut deeper than they should, a subtle shift in tone when you share good news, support that feels forced, thin, or conditional. And the strangest part, they rarely admit what they feel. Their ego won't allow it, so their envy slips out through sabotage instead. The painful reality. Family envy often forms when your growth highlights their stagnation, your courage exposes their fear, your success threatens their identity, your independence reminds them of their own limitations, and instead of growing, they choose the easier option, pulling you downward. Not always loudly, sometimes quietly, cleverly, through subtle comments, discouragement, or framing your achievements as luck instead of effort. The Stoic insight. Stoicism teaches that another person's judgment reveals their character, not your worth. Envy is a confession, a silent admission of internal emptiness. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, if someone resents you, the problem lies in their perception, not your progress. Your job is not to shrink to ease their discomfort. How this shows up in real life. They dismiss your accomplishments. They warn you against opportunities they secretly wish they had. They share your struggles but stay silent on your victories. They compare you to others to diminish your growth. They undermine your confidence while pretending to advise you. This isn't guidance. It's insecurity disguised as concern. How to respond. The Stoic protocol. Stop oversharing with people who twist your story. Not everyone deserves access to your dreams. Detach emotionally. Their envy is not about you. It is about their unfulfilled potential. Maintain calm, firm boundaries. If their comments turn cutting, respond with, "That's not helpful," or "I'm confident in my direction." No defensiveness, no explaining, just certainty. The Stoic truth. You're not responsible for managing someone else's insecurities. Your success is not an attack. Your growth is not a betrayal. And anyone who tries to dim your light reveals only their own darkness. Not everyone deserves access. 8. Conditional love and emotional neglect. Epictetus taught, you become what you give your attention to. But what happens when, as a child, or even as an adult, the attention you needed simply wasn't there? When love felt conditional, when affection came only when you performed, when emotional warmth depended on how useful or obedient you were. This form of toxicity doesn't shout. It starves. The hidden wound. Emotional neglect inside a family creates a quiet, lingering ache, an emptiness that follows you into adulthood. You learn early that your feelings are inconvenient, your needs are excessive, your sadness is embarrassing. And conditional love teaches an even harsher lesson. You must earn affection, earn approval, earn closeness, earn your place. So you grow into someone who overperforms, overgives, and over-apologizes. Not because you want praise, but because you're terrified of losing love again. The Stoic insight. Stoicism teaches that your worth is rooted in virtue, not validation. External approval is unstable. It shifts, contracts, and disappears based on other people's moods, biases, and wounds. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, your value does not decrease because someone fails to see it. Conditional love is not love. It is a transaction, and emotional neglect is not neutrality. It is harm wrapped in silence. How this shows up in real life. You find it hard to trust closeness. You hide your emotions because you expect dismissal. You struggle to receive love because it feels unfamiliar. You stay in draining relationships because neglect feels normal. You fear disappointing others more than disappointing yourself. These patterns aren't flaws. They're survival strategies that were never meant to be permanent. How to respond. The Stoic Protocol. Rebuild the inner foundation they never nurtured. Speak to yourself with the care they failed to give you. Acknowledge your emotional needs without shame. Feeling deeply is not weakness, it is awareness. Choose closeness selectively. Give your heart only to those capable of respecting it. Withdraw emotional dependence from those who cannot provide it. Distance is not disrespect, it is clarity. The Stoic truth. You are not unlovable. You were unloved in the way you needed. You're not too emotional. Your emotions were ignored. You're not hard to care for. You were taught to silence your needs. Now you get to choose differently. You get to choose people who see you. You get to choose people who stay. You get to choose a life where love isn't conditional. My worth is not negotiable. 9. Disrespect, humiliation, and verbal aggression. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you respect yourself, others have no choice but to learn where they stand." But in many families, respect is treated as optional, something they give when they feel like it and withdraw when they're upset, insecure, or trying to assert dominance. Verbal aggression doesn't need shouting to be violent. Sometimes it's a joke that isn't a joke. A comment said, in front of everyone. A tone meant to embarrass, to belittle, to make you feel small enough to control. The pain behind disrespect. Disrespect from strangers is irritating. Disrespect from family is destabilizing because it attacks the foundation of who you are. It makes you question your worth. It makes you shrink, second guess, walk on eggshells, scan every sentence before you speak. You start anticipating humiliation before it happens. A sign that the damage is no longer just external, but internal. And the cruelest part, people who do this will often claim, "I was only joking." Don't be so sensitive. You know how I am. These aren't explanations. They're escape routes, ways to avoid accountability while continuing the pattern. The Stoic insight. Stoicism teaches that your dignity is a non-negotiable asset. It is the one thing no one has the right to take away, unless you hand it to them through silence or compliance. Disrespect tolerated becomes disrespect repeated. Humiliation accepted becomes humiliation normalized. Marcus Aurelius urged, stand tall, even if you stand alone. How this shows up in real life. They mock your dreams. They use you as the punchline in family gatherings. They correct, criticize, or belittle you publicly. They talk to you in tones they would never use with anyone else. They make you feel childish, inferior, or powerless. And each time you let it slide, they learn a dangerous lesson. Your comfort is negotiable. Your self-respect is optional. How to respond? The Stoic Protocol. Interrupt the pattern with presence. A calm, steady stare can silence more disrespect than shouting ever could. Call out the behavior plainly. I don't find that respectful. Or, I won't continue this conversation in this tone. Remove yourself if needed. Leaving the room, the call, or the situation speaks louder than confrontation. Not as punishment, but as a reminder that access to you requires respect. The Stoic truth. You cannot force someone to speak to you with dignity, but you can refuse to stand anywhere where dignity is not offered. You can shrink for family, or you can stand for yourself, but you cannot do both. I will not shrink to fit someone's disrespect. When you look back at these 9 behaviors, a pattern becomes unmistakable. Toxicity doesn't always come with violence, shouting, or dramatic moments. Sometimes it comes quietly, through guilt, criticism, disrespect, or the slow erosion of your dignity by the people who are supposed to protect it. Stoic philosophy teaches that you may not control how others behave, but you always control what you allow, what you reinforce, and what you walk away from. And that responsibility is not cruelty. It is self-preservation. You're not betraying your family by setting boundaries. You're betraying yourself if you don't. If someone's behavior harms your peace, your stability, or your sense of worth, it is your duty, not your option, to protect your inner world. Because the quality of your life is shaped not by the blood you come from, but by the behaviors you allow to stay. So take this knowledge with you. See clearly. Choose wisely. Build a life rooted in dignity, not guilt. And if you're ready to reclaim your peace, comment below. I choose peace.